Yeah, you know it's one of the best things, and if you're not subscribing and a Patreon, I can't remember the term you used for Pick Six, Brett, but you know my favorite part after we talk to you is the weekly emails where I
Mm,
can, because I'm super slow, so
the Pick
it
Six Plus.
yeah, being
Yeah, yeah,
color
yeah.
coded and the rankings and the scheme, it's
It's phenomenal.
like what else do you do, Brett? I mean, you're I assume you're, happily married. You got to be a hubby too. Like what?
I'll
Or
tell you what.
you're
Well,
around for
thanks for
the
the
engage. I was around for the engagement. I do know that. I
yeah.
mean, you do have to like spread yourself out a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks. Yeah, that's Pick Six Plus, the weekly stats and info package going out every Tuesday. I'll tell you, Damon, my schedule's really Saturday to Tuesday. That's kind of my little work week. It's wild. I mean, I still have some stuff to work on Wednesday, Thursday, but Thursday, Friday is my weekend, and then Saturday kicks off the next work week. So, it's a unique schedule, but we make it work. And
The
yeah,
fact
it's
it's color coded is really good for a guy like me who struggles. Unlike Ravi says, I can read. I struggle to see. Those are two completely different things.
Also struggles to focus sometimes a little bit. Got a little of that ADHD going on.
It's fine. It's
No,
fine.
absolutely. But I mean, I always found that the season goes so quick. I mean, you're trying to catch up on all these games that happen. So hopefully, this resource, Pick Six Plus, helps you catch up every Tuesday in your email inbox. So yeah, we're really enjoying this season. I can't believe it's already 8 weeks in, but the conference races are starting to crystallize a little bit, and can't wait to break it down with you guys.
Yeah, let me ask you about a team that they were flying under the radar, and then they kind of took a loss, and I still think they're flying under the radar. And I'm asking this because I'm driving home with my kiddo from practice yesterday. He's a big Gunner Stockton guy, and he believes in Georgia and thinks they're kind of laying in the cut. I want to start there because and I say this to you every 3 weeks, right? I try to watch them for as good as a team as I think they could be, and they always get better as the season goes along. Do we need to be paying more attention to Georgia?
Yeah, well, with Georgia, you're right. It's not their dynasty tier teams from a couple years back. This isn't your NFL caliber defense. I was calling them the NFL's 33rd team for a couple years back then, and I think that it's not really that. But what they still are is that resiliency that you need out of a championship team. They find the plays that you have to make. They rallied last week. They were down against Auburn, down 10-0. They made that goal line stand, and Gunnar Stockton was perfect in the second half. And then here in a shootout type game against Ole Miss, yeah, they just kept punching back. They were trailing for most of it. And then, of course, the defense came up with a couple key stops in the fourth quarter, and Stockton took advantage. So I think what you have here, it's not the most dominant team in America, but they still have that resiliency that you need to go make a title run. So sitting there with one loss, I think they're still going to be a playoff team and likely hosting a game in Athens.
Mm. Brett, kind of a strange question here. What was your favorite game over the weekend?
Wow, that's a tough one. I think you go look at the Big 12 a little bit. Texas Tech, Arizona State was just a
Mm.
wild back and
Yeah,
forth fourth quarter. It
great one.
was kind of sleepy for the first three, but then all the fireworks came in the fourth quarter. Sam Levitt back from his injury led a gutsy drive to win it. Utah
I
BYU,
would
all
say
the
kind of same thing
emotions.
with Utah BYU in the Big 12.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Utah BYU, all the emotions packed into that game, and of course the fourth quarter craziness. Looking across the landscape here, I mean, USC Notre Dame was interesting. It might not have been the best game, but seeing USC come all the way back, take a lead, and then the very next play, Notre Dame house the kickoff. I mean, that's got to hurt if you're a USC fan. And then some upsets. It was the week of the upset. You had Louisville go beat Miami. Ole Miss went down as an undefeated team, and Texas Tech, who I thought was untouchable, guys, coming into this week and
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
forward thought they were untouchable, and then Arizona State bounced back from their injury and dealt them a loss. So yeah, wild week, but there was plenty to choose from.
So when you're kind of readjusting, and today coincidentally is Tuesday, so I'll be checking my email. When you're kind of reshuffling, how do you not overreact to, like, let's say a week ago we were talking about how complete Miami was, and then they they get beat outright as a double digit fave. Do you overcorrect, or are the numbers just what the numbers say?
Well, yeah, I think you got to just look at it as one game. I mean, college football is college football. You're going to have an upset laying in there, and I think the styles of the loss are important to me. Whether it was a blowout, if they were really pushed around physically, or did the guy throw 5 interceptions? You know what I mean? So Carson Beck historically had not done that, and I think he's going to get it cleaned up. That is a little alarming that it was coming off a bye week, that they had 13 days to prepare for this. And
Yeah.
Louisville should have had a target on their back. I mean, that's a solid program. It's Jeff Brom. This was not Wake Forest or something. So that is a little alarming. But I think in both the cases of Miami and of Texas Tech, I am not really reacting too much to their losses. I think I want to give them each a mulligan. It is college football after all. I still have them as the favorites within those conferences. So we'll see. Now, if you do it twice in a row to me, 3 times in a row, then you start to downgrade. But I think right now, I still like what you have in both those teams.
Who's number 4? Actually, let's go. I could guess who 3 is. Who's 3, 4, and 5 in the Big Ten?
3, 4, and 5. Well, that's assuming that Ohio State, Indiana, 1-2 punch there at the
Correct.
top. I will go with Oregon, number 3. I think that what you have there is a really complete team. They're playing solid football. They just destroyed Rutgers. I know it's Rutgers, but they beat them by 550 yards. It's like incredible margins there. And then I think for this question for 4 and 5, it's like you have perfect units on one side of the ball. You have USC with their offense. You have Michigan with their defense. So, and now I will say that Michigan is improving their offense too. Now that Bryce Underwood's getting acclimated, he's playing very efficient football. No mistakes from him. Donovan McCauley is emerging at receiver. So I think to answer your question, I would put Oregon a definite number 3, and those are my 3 playoff teams from the conference. I think that's it this year for them. 4 and 5, I would have as USC and Michigan. They got to clean up other parts of the ball, but they're close there with 5 and 2 records.
Brett, if either of those teams wins out, do you think they can make the playoff, or do you think it is a pretty hard cap at 3 for the Big Ten this year?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If they win out, both of those teams could be 10 and 2. The reason I was have them below the line right now is because they both have major matchups coming against what I think are the top teams. So you got Michigan, of course, with Ohio State. Now, guys, I mean, maybe I should favor them looking back their series with Ohio State. Maybe I'm off on that, but I think right now you can assume that they would lose the Ohio State game. That would put them 9 and 3. I think they'd be out. And then USC in the same sense, they have a game still with Oregon, and I would definitely favor Oregon in that one. So, but yeah, if either team flips that script and wins out, they're definitely in. If you're 10 and 2 from the Big Ten with a couple ranked wins, I think that's a playoff resume.
So you brought up things happening 3 times in a row, and you need to pay a little bit more of attention. Are we paying attention to UCLA yet, or no?
Yeah, definitely. It's quite a story. I mean, with Tim Skipper and then the play caller Jerry Neuheisel, what they're pulling off is incredible. Because you look how broken that offense was the first month of the year, and then to see like a light switch go off, and they're playing motivated, they're gutsy, they're resilient in the fourth quarter. Yeah, I'm impressed. Now they have to go against the Indiana machine this week, but I guess they've already been the underdog for a couple weeks, so they could maybe do it again. But no, I think Indiana's gonna finish this win streak. But I am impressed with what they pulled off in such short notice.
What do you do with Ole Miss?
Yeah, Ole Miss coming in, I wasn't so sold on as an undefeated team. I think coming in, they were still like 10th for me in the power ratings, even though they were 7-0 coming in. I think they have a great offense. I think Trinidad Chambliss. I told you guys last week he would have had to have had a Manziel performance to pull off this Georgia game, and really through 3 quarters he did.
Almost did, yeah.
Yeah, through 3 quarters, I think they scored on almost every drive and gave them a puncher's shot against Georgia. So I'm really impressed with the offense. Great playmakers at receiver, great play caller with Kiffin, a good schemer. The defense has to be cleaned up, and that's going to hold them back here as they make a playoff push. I have them projected to lose against Oklahoma. That would put them at 10 and 2 with the head-to-head loss to Oklahoma. So that looks like a bubble team for me for playoff. I think the SEC might get 4 or 5 in there. If they get 5, Ole Miss would be that 5th. I think it's going to still be tough to get 5 into a bracket, but so they got to clean up their defense a little bit.
What are we doing with Oklahoma?
It's kind of the exact answer, but flipped. I love that defense. I think it could be the best in America, along with Ohio State. Now the offense, they need to just on a per play basis. My numbers don't like it. I know Mateer is a playmaker, and that some of these stats are with him out of the lineup or still rehabbing. So take it with a grain of salt, I guess. But Yeah, they just got to improve the offense a bit. So if you took Oklahoma's defense and paired it with Ole Miss's offense, I mean, you'd have an undefeated national champion. So both sides of the ball, they got to fix a little bit. But I see them making the playoff. I moved them into my playoff projection. You'll see that in today's edition of Pick Six Plus coming out. I've got them in there at 10-2. But with the brutal schedule they've gone through, I think they'd be in the bracket 10-2.
What do you do with Georgia Tech?
I still don't know what to do with them. Them and
Okay.
BYU.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Those are the mysteries, is Georgia Tech and BYU, because they're undefeated. And, I love that on a resume. You can't argue undefeated. But in terms of who they played and how they've played them in terms of margins, it's been tough. I mean, Georgia Tech, a lot of one-score wins. BYU almost every week is in a miracle fourth quarter win. And, you give them credit for doing it. They have similar quarterbacks too, with Haynes King and Barrett Bachmeier. They both shoulder 15, 20 carries in key games, dual threat quarterbacks, bigger frame guys, and good running backs. Yeah, so I don't know what you do with them. I mean, right now I have them favored in every game besides Georgia, the finale. But when you look at how much they're favored by, it's like a point or two every time. So they still have coin flip games coming. I still think Miami's your best team over there. I have Louisville number 2 and Georgia Tech number 3 in the ACC.
What's your model say about South Florida?
South Florida, yeah, love the offense. Alex Golesh, he's coached himself into maybe the carousel.
Gonna get a job.
Yeah, it's a matter of who wants to go with him. And I think he came from Tennessee. He was on the Heupel staff that lit up Alabama with back in 2022, and Hyatt had those 3 touchdowns. I think he was the OC, and he's brought that offense down to South Florida. So when he has the talent, when he has the resources, that offense can really thrive. This week with Memphis going down, I've projected USF back into the playoff bracket as the G5 team. They have to go earn it this week head-to-head with Memphis. I think it's in Memphis too. I think USF wins it there and then wins the AAC to get that bid. So they're back in the bracket.
So after Iowa State beats BYU this week, they'll go to 3-2 in the conference, and BYU goes to 4-1. Does that put Cincy at the top?
Yeah, I like you're calling the upset right away. In fact, I thought it would be an upset given the rankings and the records, but when you look over at Vegas, I think they're a slight favorite at home there. That's the Matt Campbell effect. I love that coaching staff. It's Rocktober with Rocco Beck at quarterback, so yeah, it's going to be good. But yeah, if you take down BYU, you're sitting there with Cincinnati, number 1 in the entire Big 12. I don't think anybody had that. What you have with Cincinnati, and Nebraska fans got to see it live in Kansas City, is a great offense, a great quarterback with Brandon Sorsby. He had 4 more touchdowns Saturday. Really a dynamic offense. But it's kind of an old-fashioned Big 12 where they score a bunch. They're super fast-paced. They can't stop anybody. So if you like points, you better tune into the Baylor-Cincinnati game this week. That might go over like 85 combined points. It's going to be awesome.
Brett, is there, when you're looking at Vanderbilt, is there anything the numbers tell you that say, hey, this might be a little bit, I don't want to say smoke and mirrors, because I think the wins are real, but is there anything that indicates you they might regress a little bit, or am I just looking at the helmet too much?
Yeah, it's one of those where you try and hide the logo, because when you look at the stat sheet and you look at the resume, and they're really impressive, especially the offense. I think their strength is on offense. You have Pavia creating all these crazy plays in the pocket. Great offensive line play. You saw some highlights circulating on Twitter that these linemen, they're nasty. They make great blocks, both pass protection, run blocking. Really no weakness on the offense. I think if you want to nitpick and find a weakness, you look on defense. The pass defense giving up a lot of yards. It's bend don't break, but they've been breaking a little bit on defense. So I would say if they clean up that side of the ball. Now looking forward, they still have some huge tests. I mean, a lot of coin flip games in terms of lines. A point or two difference here with Missouri this week. Same with the Texas game coming up, and Auburn's close. So a lot of close games. Tennessee, that's within a point or two. So let's see. I mean, a lot of tight margin games. If they can continue to be so resilient, then, I mean, it sounds weird, but they could play themselves into a playoff spot.
So I'm trying to. I know it's not our job to play the matchups, right? You play the line, I think, if you want to have success in this business, handicapping. But there's 2 teams I think are on a bit of upset watch. I look at Texas going to Stark Vegas, and man, the Gamecocks, this is the kind of game when they host Bama, they're
Mm.
getting double digits. I don't know, man. It just seems like one of these teams is ripe for the pickings. Agree, one, both, none.
Yeah,
Mississippi getting 7, South Carolina getting 12.
I think your live underdog there would be Mississippi State. It's in Starkville. They've been close in a bunch of their games this year, and Texas, they barely survived against Kentucky last week. Kentucky, we thought was the worst team in the conference by far. I'm not so sold on Arch Manning in that offense yet. I know they had a couple nice throws against Oklahoma, but I don't know. I think you're going to have a one-score game regardless, so that puts you into the upset watch. With Alabama,
Doesn't South
you know,
Carolina have one of these in them? It seems like they do
I they
every
usually
year.
yeah, they usually do, but I don't really like the South Carolina team this year. The offense is broken. Can't run the ball. They just fired their offensive line coach. They're not getting the most out of Lenora Sellers. It's a shame because he is an unbelievable talented quarterback, and it's
Should
just going to waste. I mean, they can't block anybody, so he's scrambling. He's a great scrambler too, but like he has to do everything, and it's just not enough. Defense not opportunistic like it usually is.
It seems
So
like it
here's
should be 22, not 12. It seems too
yeah.
low.
Yeah, and I'll give you this too. Alabama, really tough spot. They're coming off 4 ranked ranked games in a row.
Mm.
That's just got to weigh on a team. And then you're going into South Carolina. So, if I had to pick one as your upset, I would go with Mississippi State, Texas. But I do not like that Alabama spot either. Coming off 4 emotional ranked wins, they have that cigar hangover from the Tennessee game. So I don't trust South Carolina though at all.
Bro, let's take in the SEC for a second here. Tell me what a win would mean for each team. Texas A&M
Yeah.
on the road at LSU.
Well, Texas A&M, a win for them. That just continues their undefeated season. This is one of their remaining tough games. They're trying to position for a playoff spot and maybe even go further, maybe an SEC championship performance. Because yeah, this will get them to 5-0 within the league. I think I'd have them favored the rest of the way. With LSU, they really need a win. I mean, Brian Kelly really needs a win. He's starting to lose it down there, lose the narrative. They're sitting there 5-2. The fan base is pretty upset with him. Offensively, they've been stuck in the mud for a couple games in a row now, most of the season actually. I thought coming off that bye week that the offense would look cleaner. I thought Garrett Nussmeier would have improved and at full health, and it's just not looking solid. So if you lose to Vanderbilt and A&M back to back and drop to 5-3, that's not a good look here in his fourth season. They gave him all the resources in the world, the highest paid coordinator in college football history, all the NIL money to sign the #1 transfer class in America. It doesn't look like 5-3, so that'd be a big problem for him. So
If
I think LSU needs it more, but I like Texas A&M's story better.
if LSU doesn't make the playoff, do you think he gets fired?
I think so. I mean, this is not a program that waits around. This would have been what? That would be 4 straight years, all 4 of his without a playoff bid. 2 of those being in the 12-team playoff era. I think that's inexcusable. Like I said, for the reasons they gave him every resource possible. I mean, the highest paid coordinator, all the NIL money. They got Garrett Nussmeier to stay out of the NFL. He was projected high this time last year. So yeah, if you can't win it and get in the playoff with this kind of setup, then that's going to be a problem. I think they move on.
So I'm going to go back to Missouri and Vandy just because, again, it's another 2.5, just like, Vandy was the slight fave last week. What's it mean for the other side, though, with what Missouri has left on the schedule, Texas A&M looming?
Yeah, their November heats up. They've got Texas A&M and M and then a road trip to Oklahoma. So they don't have many more mulligans left on the schedule. I think they're going to go into Nashville and beat Vanderbilt here. When you watch Missouri play, you're seeing all those great years of transfers and recruiting. It's really the best they've ever recruited at that school's history. And you're seeing it now. I mean, it's one thing to look at recruiting stats on paper, but then when you turn it on and watch these guys, I mean, they have some freaks on their defensive line. They have some freaks at receiver. And they have some
Got a
hard
nice
runners
tandem in the backfield.
they have a really physical running back tandem. Bo Prabula's getting it done too at quarterback. So they just look the part, Missouri. So I'm going to go with them. And that's no slight at Vanderbilt. I think you're seeing a really special story over there. But I really like this Missouri front, and they're going to make enough plays to win it.
Mm. As you look through the Big Ten and bouncing back over to our neck of the woods a little bit here, and you look at not the top of the conference, which we already kind of talked about. Who do you think outside of the top 5 is the best of the middle of the pack?
Well, we're going to find that answer in Seattle on 3:30 kickoff when you have Washington versus Illinois,
Yep.
because
Oh,
at certain times of the year, both these teams have showed me something, and then at other times they've come up really flat. Illinois, they when they played Duke, that was really impressive. They forced 5 fumbles. It might have been 3, guys. Don't quote me on that, but it was very opportunistic defense against Duke. And then they go out and they lose by 59 points to Indiana. So they're hot and cold. They did play Ohio State tough, but no moral victories. Washington, their offense at times looks incredible. Damon Williams was looking like a Heisman candidate until he played against Michigan. He threw 3 interceptions in a span of 5 snaps. It's just he came up really small against Michigan. So, both these teams have flashed for me. I was high on both. And then now you go head to head. I think that's your battle for 5th place there in the Big Ten.
That is our guy, Brett Ciancia, Pick 6 Previews. Brett, appreciate the time as always. Enjoy this week of games.
All right. Thanks, guys. Enjoy it.